Today's focus will be primarily on the adductors, the inner thigh muscles, and their importance to healthy hip function and posture, walking, all sorts of things. So we'll start out just in a kneeling position with the hands under the shoulders. I'll face forward so you can get a nice view of the position itself. We're going to stick the right leg out to the side with the toes trying their best to be parallel as possible. Okay? Now, you'll see that my right knee is not completely locked out. We're going to skip that and just find a little bit of a micro bend. Doesn't have to be exaggerated, but just a soft bend in the knee. Okay? I want you to first just feel the right foot push into the floor and imagine that your foot was almost trying to pull towards the center of your legs. So kind of tracing this inner arch all the way to the midline. And I want you to feel with your right hand how the inner thigh muscles start to kind of contract or kick on. There's a little something happening there. Once you've found that contraction, I want you to slowly hang on to it as you rock your hips backwards about halfway down. And then you're going to rock your hips forward and start that again. We push into the foot, we pull it towards the midline, we feel the inner thigh engage as we slowly rock the hips back. So from the side, it'll look like this. We pull in, we rock back. You'll notice that my tailbone is pointing straight back behind me, right, rather than coming this way, right? We're going to try to keep it neutral so we get the most out of this particular movement, right? So right away, we're just trying to create some healthy elongation in the inner thighs. If you are interested in TCM or traditional Chinese medicine, this region is associated with the liver meridian. So, if you work on this stuff a lot, you may notice some improvements in any symptoms associated with liver meridian health, right? So just a cool fact. I found it very helpful in my own body, and you might find it interesting too. We're going to do about 3 more rocks here, just opening up that inner leg tissue, feeling the contraction of the foot pulling inward and drawing the hips back. Right, one more time here. And then we're going to continue working this right inner thigh. So I'm going to have you pull that leg in, and you're just going to slide all the way down to lie on the right side of your body. If you want a pillow or a yoga block under your head, feel free to grab that. We're going to take the bottom leg, the right leg in this instance, and straighten it all the way out. The top leg can either drape forward like so, or you can stamp your foot down if that gives you a little bit more leverage. Right? Both are great, just fine. Or you can have your hips roughly stacked over one another and kind of pull that top hip away from you so it's not hiking. Okay? From here, I want you to find a little space under the right side of your waist. You're going to point through the right toes for now, and I want you to turn the inner thigh, the right inner thigh, towards the wall behind you. So you're finding this little bit of internal rotation in the leg. I want you to keep that internal rotation as you lift the leg up off the floor, going as high as you're able to keep the knee extended. And then you're going to lower down. Right, so we're lifting up in this little bit of an internal rotation and lower. Always feeling free to pad the bottom hip with whatever you have available, a blanket, a yoga mat, right? All things to make it not uncomfortable on that bottom side hip. Okay, so we're lifting, we're trying to lengthen the toes as far away from our hips as we possibly can. And feeling this nice inner line of the leg kind of contracting and plugging up into the base of your pelvis, that pelvic floor area. We're going to do 2 more like this. And then after the next one, you're going to hold at the top. And now I want you to try to maintain the lift of the leg and just brush it forward a few inches and then brush it back and try to almost feel like your leg is coming a little bit behind your pelvis. So we come forward and then we slide back. And especially as the leg goes backwards, I want you to really try turning that inner thigh to the wall behind you, like your big toes trying to turn back. Yeah, really fighting for that internal rotation, getting those inner hamstrings, those inner adductors that we often are not accessing in our day-to-day activities, but can be really, really valuable to tap into. Okay, now the next time that leg goes back, last little bit here, we're gonna flex the foot. We're gonna try to keep the height of this bottom leg the same, really challenging. And we're just gonna bend the knee, pushing that foot backwards a little bit more, and then extend the knee. And you're really working to maintain that little hover of your right outer thigh off the floor as you find this kind of little hamstring curl in and out. Relaxing your head and neck, letting your face relax. It's hard, but we'll try not to take that work too many other places up into the body. Just kind of let it be in the inner thigh. Woo, last two. Nice. Final one. And just relax it down. Give it a little rest. Okay, we're gonna come up, and then from here, we're gonna start on the other side. So I want you to send your left foot out to the side with the toes facing forward. You're gonna pull the left foot in, and you're gonna start to rock those hips back. Once again, maintaining that pull of your foot in towards your center. You'll come forward, and we'll repeat again. If you're not sure if you're doing it right, in quotes, I would recommend starting at the beginning position. You're gonna pull in, feel with your left hand, or my inner thighs kind of relax as though I were just sitting into a passive stretch, or do I kind of feel some tension, some like grabbing of the muscles? Can I hang on to that by pulling my foot towards center for as long as possible? And we'll show it from the side. So you feel the tailbone is pointing back, the heart is reaching forward. Okay. We've got it for 3, for 2, for 1. You'll come down, left foot comes in, slide on down to your left side, prop up whatever you need to, right? I'm gonna support my head with my elbow. I'm gonna take the right leg forward, send the left leg long. We're gonna stack up the hips as much as we can and try to send that top hip away, creating a little space underneath. Now from here, we turn that left leg internally. Inner thigh faces the back wall. You're gonna exhale, lift up that leg, and then lower down. Okay, lift and lower. You can play with the exhale quality as you lift up the leg. Kind of pretend like you're blowing out through a straw. So that might make the lift a little easier. Might make you feel a little bit more connection to the sides of your torso, hugging in towards the center. So working on connecting that breath to your movement. We've got this for 3 more lifts, just like this. For 2. We're gonna lift up and stay, and then we're gonna try to maintain the height of this leg as we brush it forward and then back. Yeah, so we just go to a little hip flexion, and a little hip extension as the leg moves behind us. Really seeing if we can turn internally, especially when that leg goes back. me try to find that. Might be a very sticky connection that we've yet to, map out in our bodies, right? We'll do about 3 more glides. Cool. And on the next glide back, you're gonna hold it there, really get into that extension, flex the foot, curl the heel towards your butt, and then extend the leg out long. Yeah, so we try to feel that nice exhale, like we're blowing through a straw, to reestablish that connection, our inner thigh, deep abdominals. Yeah, last 4. Really hard on this left side for me personally, but we're going for it, right? That might be the same for you. For 2. Good. And after this last one, just release that leg down. I want you to just roll onto your back briefly and just find a nice happy baby position. You could grab outsides of your knees or up by your pinky toes and just see if you can give yourself a gentle rock side to side. Right, allow the hips to kind of fall back into the floor, and then just breathe deeply, trying to breathe down the length of your spine all the way into your pelvis, and then exhale, let it go. Okay, now we're gonna just kind of shake out the legs, let go of any tension you may have acquired on those last exercises. And now we're gonna go for a nice kind of loose tabletop position. So I say loose in that it doesn't have to be a perfect 90-degree angle the whole time. We definitely don't want it smaller than 90 degrees, but we can go a little bit larger. Yeah, feet are just relaxed. We're gonna grab the outsides of the legs and kind of wrap around. So we've got our fingertips on the inner knees, or depending on the length of your arms, you might find it easier to grab kind of the insides of the knees. So find whatever grip feels most accessible to you. I'm gonna go around the back, and I want you to feel like your legs are just squeezing together as tight as they can. The feet are squeezing in, the legs are squeezing in. And you're gonna imagine that you are trying to keep this squeeze for as long as you can. We're gonna imagine that your hands are someone else's hands, and they were just gently kind of tractioning your legs apart, right? But you are trying to prevent them from doing that by pressing your thighs together, right? The hands that are pulling will eventually win. Your legs will indeed separate. But the point is that we're trying to maintain this feeling of legs contracting, squeezing toward the center as we open. Okay, I'll show it from the back so you get a different view. So squeeze in. Imagine that you were trying to keep your legs together the whole time, but your arms eventually do win. And you're pulling out, and it might be a little shaky if you've got some kind of dense fascia in there, maybe some emotional memories in this part of your body. Just go with it. If there's any pain or if it ever feels too intense, pause, like take whatever you need. You don't have to go as deep in the range, and you don't have to squeeze maybe as tight as you possibly can, right? So you can back off of that resistance at any point you need to. But really try to find it at the top, press the legs together, and then resist on the way out. It almost should feel hard for your arms to pull the legs away from each other. Yeah. Very different than if we were just kind of like flopping out and in. There's so much resistance here. We're going to do that for 2 more. Okay. And now we're going to open out with the legs. And I want you to just do the opposite. So now we're going to place the hands to the outer thighs, closer to the outer knees, but not directly on them. You're going to push your thighs away from each other. Now you'll feel your outer legs and outer hips starting to light up. And now your hands are going to win this way. Your legs are pushing apart, but your hands will push the legs together. and we open out, we relax. Push out with the legs, push, push, push the legs apart, let the hands win. Now you might feel some good stuff opening up across the sides of your hips, across the backs of your hips. Press out. Feel that press continue as the hands win. Whew. Last two. Push apart. Close with control. Final time. Okay. All right, from here, we're gonna roll ourselves up. We're gonna come to a standing position. Just kind of feel out the legs. Maybe you've got some new sensations happening. Maybe not, right? We're gonna take the legs apart, wider than the hips, as wide as you feel like you can go without, feeling compromised in your balance. And I want you to then place your hands on the sides of your hips. We're gonna bend into the left knee and feel that same kind of connection of right foot into the floor, pulling the right foot towards center. So imagine this right foot was steering in this way. You could even take your right hand to your inner thigh to check that that's happening, and then come back to center. A couple more times in that direction. Pull the foot in, keep pulling it in as you shift your hips over to the left foot. Okay, last time. Pull in, pull in, pull in. Shift your hips to the left. Cool. We come back to center. We go the other way. Right away, left foot pushes down, left foot pulls in towards center. Check in with that hand. See if you can feel your inner thighs on, not relaxing completely. Yeah. Okay. Pull in like you're squeezing that right foot, or left foot, sorry, into the center. Yeah, one more time. Just getting this connection. Cool. Now, we find this relationship between our more kind of outer hips and glute max and our inner hips, right, adductors. So what that's going to look like is the same kind of lateral lunge side to side, but where we kind of move from may be a little different than how you normally take it. So what we're going to start with is a nice bend into the left foot, kind of pull in with that right foot, feel the inner thigh connecting. Now, as we switch to the other side, I want you to power down through your left foot, feel your left glute, kind of pushing your hips up, and then feel your opposite inner thigh, your right inner thigh, helping to pull you over to the other foot. We'll reverse that. Push down, use your right glute to lift, and then use your left inner thigh to pull across. So the hip on this side is pushing you up, the opposite inner thigh is pulling you to the other side, okay? Even if that's not something that feels natural right away, just try it on, right? See, you can almost feel like as you're approaching center, the feet are both pulling towards the midline, so that we're actually activating so much of this inner thigh space to help us rock side to side. Whereas a lot of times we might not be using so much of this at all and relying on other parts of our body to get us there. Okay, so we push off the foot, pull our inner thighs toward one another as we shift. Really, really great way to kind of integrate all of the functions of the hip into this nice alternating movement. Last two. Push, pull. Okay. Final one, push off the right foot. Use your inner thighs to pull across. And then we'll just let the hands kind of fall to center. You can narrow the feet a touch more just so it feels like a comfortable forward fold. Allow your spine and head to hang heavy here. Just give yourself a little shake, a little sway right to left. And from here, I want you to take your hands to the inner arches of your feet. Feel like your inner arches were, again, trying to push towards center, feeling the insides of your feet pushing into the fingertips a touch. Once you feel that, kind of let it go. You can let the arms hang. Imagine that your feet were pulling towards center as you start to take a nice slow roll up to stand, articulating all the way up, one bone at a time. Once you're back at the top, you are all done for today. As always, leave a comment with any questions or modification requests that you might have, and I'll see you next time.